This is not my normal Minnesota Black Robe Regiment channel video. This one, while most of my subject matter is very serious and somber, this one is incredibly important. On Tuesday of this week, that would have been November 10th, the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, began a new series of lockdowns and COVID-19 restrictions. Much has been said in media and in social media by people in the state of Minnesota in regards to the governor's new mandates. But what's being said isn't enough. And here's what I mean. One of the mandates, and I'm going to screen share this for everybody. One part of the mandate is a limit on social gatherings. And what do I mean by a limit on social gatherings? That limit, I don't know if people are going to understand just how severe this is. I'm just going to read it as it's been amended. All social gatherings of more than 10 people and all social gatherings involving members of more than 3 households, regardless of the size of gathering, are prohibited, except as set forth below. Social gatherings are groups of individuals who are not members of the same household congregated together for a common or coordinated social, community, or leisure purpose, even if social distancing can be maintained. This prohibition includes planned and spontaneous gatherings as well as public and private gatherings. Prohibited gatherings do not include commercial activity by workers and customers of critical and non-critical businesses. Prohibited gatherings also do not include persons in places of public accommodation that are following the requirements and limitations in paragraph 6.c or 7.c of this executive order as applicable. Organizers of prohibited social gatherings may be subject to appropriate enforcement action by city, county, and or state authorities pursuant to paragraph 11 of this executive order. Do you understand, Minnesota? Do you understand, United States of America? Do you understand the Republic of the United States? The governor of Minnesota has now told you that you could be imprisoned for hosting in your own home a gathering that is of more than 10 people or includes more than 3 households in one home. Let's say you live alone. And in living alone, you have 3 siblings. They all live alone. You decide that you're going to get together for a dinner on Saturday of this week, the 14th of November. You call them up. You invite them over. You now have you in your home, your sibling from home 2, sibling from home 3, and sibling from home 4. You just broke the governor's executive order mandate. You could go to jail for having 4 people in your home. Let's look at this. All social gatherings of more than 10 people and all social gatherings involving members of more than 3 households, regardless of the size of the gathering, are prohibited. You're not going to be allowed to have a Thanksgiving dinner in your home if it's more than 10 people. Who do you decide to exclude? Which family member do you want to get rid of for this holiday? And I want it to be perfectly clear that he's also said this is enforceable, that law enforcement could show up at your home. This is dangerous. As dangerous as they want us to believe COVID-19 is, as dangerous as they want us to believe that virus could be, and yes, people are dying, this is far more dangerous. Far more dangerous. This can't be allowed to stand. We can't allow this to happen in the state of Minnesota, people. Let's take a look at something here. All right? First Amendment reads like this. The First Amendment of the United States Constitution protects the rights to freedom of religion and freedom of expression from government interference. It prohibits any laws that establish a national religion, impede the free exercise of religion, abridge the freedom of speech, infringe upon the freedom of the press, interfere with the right to peaceably assemble, or prohibit citizens from petitioning for a government redress of grievances. All right, here's how it reads. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The First Amendment says that we can assemble with anybody that we want, peaceably. Now, this is predominantly directed at the redress of grievances. In other words, you should be able to show up at your local government center, gather with anybody you want to gather with on the steps or in the parking lot or whatever the case might be, and express your discontent and your dissatisfaction with whatever the government is doing that you're discontented about. But it also guarantees the freedom of association. No governor, no executive, no legislature, no mayor, no anybody has the power to tell you that you can't gather with other people. Least of all, do they have the power to show up at your home and tell you you can't meet? And then when they do find out that you're meeting with whatever arbitrary number of people they have determined is safe or unsafe, or from whatever number of other abodes they come from, can they tell you that you're in violation and therefore are suffering the penalty that some governor, in this case Governor Tim Walz, has determined you should suffer for? And there are people out there, like Mayor Kim Norton of Rochester, who said, it's the law. It's not a law. This is unlawful. This is a violation of the Constitution. The governor has overstepped. People of Minnesota, you have got to resist this. You have got to resist this. And here, my friends, is the part that's scariest. Here's what it says. This is, and you can see, I urge all Minnesotans to voluntarily comply with this executive order pursuant to Minnesota Statute 2019, Section 12.45. An individual who willfully violates this executive order is guilty of a misdemeanor and upon conviction must be punished by a fine not to exceed $1,000 or by imprisonment for not more than 90 days. Any business owner, manager, or supervisor who requires or encourages any of their employees, contractors, vendors, volunteers, or interns to violate this executive order is guilty of a gross misdemeanor and upon conviction must be punished by a fine not to exceed $3,000 or by imprisonment for not more than a year. In addition to these criminal penalties, the Attorney General, as well as city and county attorneys, may investigate and seek any civil relief available pursuant to the Minnesota Statute 2019, Section 8.31, for violations or threatened violations of this executive order, including but not limited to injunctive relief. Civil penalties in an amount to be determined by the court, up to $25,000 per occurrence, costs of investigation and reasonable attorney fees, and costs and other equitable relief as determined by the court in accordance with Section 8.31. Yada, yada, yada. If you plan a family function for Thanksgiving or Christmas, or any other reason between now and whenever this ends, if you plan this, if you talk about it publicly, if you talk about it on social media, that is threatened disobedience, and therefore you can be arrested. Understand this, Minnesota. Understand this, United States. You can only be arrested when there is threat of force. In other words, people in uniform with guns can come to your home and arrest you for a family get-together. Not only that, they can arrest you after an investigation if you threaten to violate this executive order. If you say you're not going to obey, that is a threat to violate this executive order. Do you understand? They could penalize you. They could arrest you and throw you in jail. They could throw you in prison for a family get-together. This is what tyranny looks like. You wanted to be protected from a virus, people. This is what you get. You get little despotic tyrants in the state, the people's state of Marxisota, who have now told you that you just even planning this, if it's overheard, that's a threat. Then you could be investigated and arrested, fined, and imprisoned, all at the point of a gun. This must stop. I am actively calling on the people of Minnesota to resist this. To hell with all the bar stuff. To hell with all the other gathering stuff. To hell with the curfew, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. We'll talk about that some other time. This needs to be addressed. You have got to fight back on this one, Minnesota. You cannot let this go. You have got to risk imprisonment. You have got to risk the fine. You have got to risk this, because if you don't fight this, it's over. He's never going to let this power go, because it's always going to be for your safety. It's the next thing. It's going to be, we're doing this to take care of you. It's always going to be, we're taking care of you. We're protecting you. It's for your own good. Just comply. And make no mistake, there will be people in uniform who will tell you, I'm just following orders. I don't want to do this. I'm just following orders. This is tyranny, and I will not comply. I will have a family gathering for Thanksgiving, and there will be more than 10 people in my home, and there will be more than 3 households gathered in my home. That will happen. I will not exclude a family member because some tyrant, tin pot, despot, living in the lap of luxury on the backs of the taxpayers of Minnesota, sits there and lives in the lap of opulence like Josephine. I don't care, Governor Walz. Come for me. Come for me. Bring Keith Ellison. Bring the county attorney of Fillmore County. Bring the Fillmore County Sheriff's Office. Bring the mayor of Spring Valley. Whoever it is you want to bring them to my home and arrest me. I am organizing this. And I will organize this every single chance I get. Anytime I can bring friends and family into my home to celebrate whatever it is we're celebrating, I will do it. I will not comply with this. And the rest of Minnesota should not comply either. Sic semper tyrannis.